Yeah.
Okay, good. So, hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Dhanashri, and on behalf of IIT Alumni Association of Southern California, I'm excited to welcome you to the final session of our Agentic AI series, Vibe Coding at Claude and Cursor. So, over the last two sessions, we deep dived into how AI is evolving, building agentic systems with RAG and multi AI architectures and connecting them to real world tools using MCP servers. But today we'll focus more on the builder side, on how to use tools like Claude and Cursor and how they are changing the way that we develop, prototype, and create different kinds of standing tools or software. But before we begin and deep dive into that part, I'll just like to do a quick introduction about IIT SoCal. So, for those who are joining us again, it's the same talk up, but for the ones who are joining for the first time, IIT Alumni Association of Southern California is a network of 3,000 alumni across all IITs. We bring community together through events and conversation about through multiple channels like AI, technology, entrepreneurship, investing, leadership, and stuff like and networking, of course. Now, we have recently launched our IIT SoCal Leadership Podcast, and we are really excited about it. The idea is to feature conversations with inspiring IIT alumni leaders. And so far, we have around three conversations already. One with Ashish Masiha, who is CEO of Encore Capital Group and an IIT Delhi alum. Kanwal Rekhe is an IIT Bombay alum. And a conversation with Smita, who is a double IIT alum, IIT Roorkee and IIT Kanpur, and many are lined up. So we have already posted them on YouTube, and we would love your feedback on what questions you would like us to hear to ask the next set of alumni. If there are some guests that you really want to see on them, and any kind of help in connecting to more people in our community. And additionally, I don't know if Tushar is here, but Tushar from IIT AI ML Forum is also having a really interesting event tomorrow if you guys want to join. And he's going to deep dive into Gen AI startup investment memos, and he's going to talk about how VCs make funding decision. He's teaming up with Ashmit Sidana, who is a VC in engineering capital, and it's sure to be an amazing conversation. We'll share the link in the group, in our WhatsApp group, as well as a link over here too. Apart from that, a few housekeeping rules. Of course, you all know this session is recorded and we will share it on our YouTube channels. So please be mindful. Just try not to turn on please stay muted during the session. But definitely, if you have any kind of questions, please feel free to ask as many questions as possible using the chat or the Q&A channel available on the Zoom session. We'll definitely get back to all the questions one by one. And apart from that, let's move on. So we are excited to have Kaushal today to walk us through this part of the Agentic AI session. And I'm looking forward for the real world workflows and the practical examples. So with that, Kaushal, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nanshri. As usual, great job in organizing you and Priyank. You definitely make this possible. So without that, definitely it'll not be it'll not be easy. It'll take much longer, and we'll not be able to bring so many sessions in just 6 months alone that we did here. And it's so well organized, keeping track of attendees and sending out reminders, sending out the recording, and following up registration, helping with the run throughs and so on, being guinea pigs sometimes for all the sessions that we eventually conduct. So thank you all, and it's of course volunteer led. So thank you all for participating and encouraging us. This is definitely increased in terms of momentum. So once again, let me start. My name is Kaushal Misra. As many of you know, I've done my graduation from IIT Roorkee in mechanical, then did my industrial engineering from IIT Delhi. And then afterwards, I did an MBA also from what is known as IIM Mumbai. It used to be known as NITI. I've had exposure to AI, built AI products, etc. for last 10 years and so on, pre-Gen AI era. And then, of course, spent 3 years with Microsoft, and then now I have my own company advising AI and building AI strategy for companies, implementing those, and so on and so forth, building products also in the current AI era, essentially. So today's session is session 3 of 3. As you can see, hopefully you can see the screen. I'm displaying the slides now. This is the third session of a series that we started on Gen AI. And the idea was let's build on what we conducted as Introduction to Gen AI last November. So the idea was started that, although all IITians are technically savvy, the AI world has taken, the world by storm and, professional world by storm, to accurately say it. And therefore, there was a need for people to understand how to fit into the new, era, so to say, for like a better word, and how to adapt AI into their professional environment, how to understand it, and so on. So, having conducted several such sessions in past, I knew that this is something going to be challenging. So, how to make it simple enough for anybody who did not know anything at all, probably just waking up after, let's say, 20 years of sleep or visiting Mars or whatever, Saturn, right? So, for them to understand what is AI, how it is developing, and what are the elements, that they can take and build upon. So it was starting with zero, but I wanted to take it to a point where uh, you will have sufficient knowledge to start learning aggressively on your own also, and if you choose to. So the codes, the exercises, etc., were designed in a fashion that if you just have to follow the setup instruction, which are fairly easy, 15-20 minutes for every session, and then just follow the instruction, the video, and so on, and you'll be able to build and experiment and go to understand very deep concepts, and also go to a lot of depth in terms of coding also, if you have any interest, and you should have interest a little bit of it. So third session, let me come to the third session. So this is on vibe coding. So I'm sure all of you have heard the word vibe coding, and I will come to how it was coined, who coined it, and so on. What does it do, and so right. So vibe coding essentially is it, as someone described. Earlier, there used to be a very small, less than 1% of the population of the world, which was proficient in developing software or making something out of technology by writing something, in code in different languages, whether it is assembly, C++, Python, and so on and so forth. There are so many languages out there. And now with vibe coding, the entire world has become a coder, or they can develop software, so to say. So vibe coding is essentially with the help of AI, and that probably is the single biggest contribution or facilitation of AI. So it helps you capture your imagination through software and helps you develop things that were not possible earlier. So essentially, that's what it means, vibe coding. Obviously, you'll see the definition of from the person who actually coined this term first, and is of course a technology leader and so on. So essentially, it is software you describe and not type. So it is a kind of shift. It has enabled everybody, whether you know it, whether you've not done even a single day of coding, to use it. However, that said, this is not so random, and at the same time, it doesn't operate without any principle or guidelines. It does. So there are certain rules, and that is what we are going to capture in today's 2 hours, how to use it meaningfully. So if you remember the very first session on AI basics, I told everybody that treat AI as like Einstein in your basement, somebody who has all the knowledge of the world at your service. If you approach AI with that dimension, you'll always be able to use it purposefully and meaningfully. Even if Einstein were in your house, your personal assistant, let's say an avatar of him, and you were to say, I want to go. there is nothing that Einstein can reply, because unless you tell, okay, I want to go here, I want to do this, this is what, if you describe the journey in detail, then obviously, it'll start giving you ideas, it'll start building the, map for you, the route, suggest the mode of transportation, describe what you can do, and so on and so forth, make the whole thing meaningful. Same
Hey,
with vibe
Cursor,
coding also, there are rules and so on.
sorry
So,
to interrupt
yeah.
you. I'm getting some messages and myself also. We are seeing only the first slide. Are you
Yeah,
moving the
yeah,
slides?
yeah. So I've not yet advanced. So that is the background. That is why
Sorry,
we
I
have,
just wanted to
yeah.
make
And
sure that.
this whole session was designed using vibe coding itself. So technically speaking, any one of you could have done it, but maybe it would be very difficult for you to come up with this, because the thought process, that obviously I built upon what I have learned, what I showed in last two sessions and so on. So as you go along, you also should appreciate this itself is a product of vibe coding. So there were several iterations, of course. I understood, what you want, and so on and so forth. So with that, let me move on. Vibe coding with Claude and Cursor. So your AI journey in this series, Basics of AI, we started last year, November or so. April we had advanced session of RAG, and then agents and MCP. And now we are doing vibe coding. So first you talk to AI, then you grounded it, gave it agency. We developed something useful, your personal AI chatbot. So today we are going to build a little bit on top of what we have built, but this is an independent exercise by itself. So here we'll build everything by using plain English. Okay, so what is vibe coding? The tools, live demo, part A, part B, best practices, pitfalls, and Q&A. So that's how we will move on. So, so let's do these polls, Dhanshri, if you want.
Yes. One
Yeah.
second. One
So let me
second.
see how many have you, if you've done written code, etc. before, and have you tried AI coding tools? And I'm assuming answer to at least poll two should be nearly 100%.
Okay, I think we are reaching a steady state. So I'll just end
Okay.
it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can see the poll. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what is so more than half of you have done, professionally. 41. So only seven. Very small population has never coded. So obviously you fall into part B, which means you can do very detailed. Uh, you can have a detailed understanding of the coding and structures and principles, etc. So Cursor Copilot Claude Code only 42%, and Ask ChatGPT or Claude Code for Code 31%. Not yet. So there are still AI coding tool may not have, but I'm assuming ChatGPT is still everybody has trying. Good. So let's move on from this. Okay. So what is vibe coding? From writing every line to directing the writer. So you become, instead of being the worker, you become the director essentially. That's what it means. And how do you, without knowing how to code, how do you conversate? That is the purpose of this session. So how do you do that if you've heard, but you've never tried yourself, and so on? So today is the day when you do. So software creation is being rewritten. So that is now becoming a norm actually, and people are jumping into it. Today is your chance to jump into it, try it yourself. So what used to take weeks basically now takes just hours to develop. So for this exercise itself, I spent roughly 5 to 6 hours, which otherwise would have been, I would say, very clearly 3 4 days for me also, to develop this kind of lab and so on and so forth. And that was the case for the previous labs, definitely. But at the same time, previous labs involved a little bit more of coding and so on and so forth. So although we used AI, it was not exactly vibe coding. So there are limitations also. Not everything can be done. If vibe coding was so easy, naturally, there wouldn't be vibe coding, or rather, implementing things for enterprises was so easy. Vibe coding can take you to a limit. I will describe that also. But it cannot ultimately run things in enterprises, not as of yet, maybe in a few years, 10 years, and whatnot, but not so far. English is the new syntax. Through English itself, you can do a lot of things, but you should know how to manage it. So that is a part that you need to understand. Everyone builds, entrepreneurs, analysts, students, people who never wrote code are shipping real tools. So this is probably a bit of overstatement, I would say, but you need to understand how to do it, and you can be definitely, there is some truth to it. You can get very far, but you have to keep practicing, and you have to know how to use it. So speed without judgment produces fragile software and mostly what is called slop, SLOP. That is what is known as AI producing very fine looking output but completely useless. So today is about gaining speed and keeping the judgment. What exactly is vibe coding? So this guy is obviously, I follow this guy, Andre Karpathy. Many of you would have known about him. He was OpenAI co-founder and ex-Tesla AI. So he is the guy responsible for bringing a lot of automation to Tesla. So he actually, there was a Twitter post actually. So where he started experimenting with AI chatbots. There's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, and you can look up Wikipedia page also where exactly it describes he coined and what is the Twitter post. And there's a video, 40-minute video by Andre Karpathy that I had seen earlier also, where you fully give into vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. So that is when it just caught on, became viral, and people started calling it vibe coding. So it existed. It's not that he invented as such this style of coding, but he just gave it a name to a trend which was already gathering a lot of steam. And he, being an AI leader, obviously can catch and can see where the things are going and so on, can put a label and so on. So in his own right, he deserves the to be the inventor of vibe coding word. But it was not to say that people are not using. I was using, and so would have many of you also, right, at that time. So what it means is you describe the outcome and AI writes the code essentially. You run it, react, and redirect. The conversation is the workflow. So he just caught on to describing what was already happening, and people did see, the drift where the whole AI train is going. So that is where his key contribution was. Same person, new role, less typist, more director. You supply intent, taste, quality control. AI supplies volume and speed and so on. And we'll see some of that in a manner that you can relate to based on the previous two exercises. So there are three levels of AI assisted building. So autocomplete AI suggests the next lines. This was a copilot, cursor tabs, and so on. Chat to code, you ask code in conversation and then paste, run, and ask again. So artifacts, etc. Agent level 3 is AI reads your projects, plans, edits many files, runs commands, and your review. That is what we covered in last two sessions. So today's lamp climbs the whole ladder. Part A lifts at level 2. Part B hands you a level 3 agent. So we'll part A, which is in Claude, part B is in Cursor. So I also wanted to introduce you to two building blocks in AI. Not building blocks. They are kind of independent, parallel, and you can choose one over the other without actually risking pretty much. I do prefer Claude. I do a lot of my work in Claude, but I have used Cursor especially for this exercise. So we'll do a lot more on Cursor, and you can do same things that you would do in part A of the exercise, in part B also in Cursor too. So why 2026 is the year this clicked? Models got reliable. So you might have seen, why YouTube came when it came, right? So it came because all of a sudden internet allowed higher bandwidth and video processing, compression, distribution, capturing of quality, and so on. All that became possible. That is when YouTube all of a sudden clicked. Not that people did not want to share videos to wider world, that desire, that idea existed. But when things and technologies help support a particular concept, then all of a sudden that becomes possible. A lot of it becomes possible for a lot of people to start using it. A trend develops, a capability develops in the world. And in this year, vibe coding became possible because early on from January itself, you started seeing the release of OpenAI from GPT-5 and so on. And then now it is on GPT 5.5, which is very, very advanced. And then you saw similar things coming in. Claude also, Opus, and now you have Fable 5. You might have heard Mythos and Fable 5, which has been actually pulled by US on the instructions of US government and so on. But Opus 4.8 itself is very, very reliable. This whole session was built using Opus 8, 4.8, for example. So models got reliable. Frontier models, Claude GPT, now hold entire projects in content, follow multi-step instructions, and so on. Tools got agentic, so they allow you to build several agents. They themselves spin actually serverless virtual machines and so on to create a project for you for every project that you create. So it has memory, it has complete understanding what you're trying to build and so on. It has frontier models at your service and so on. So a lot of things. Editors stopped suggesting lines and started executing tasks, reading code bases, editing many files. It runs through iterations, it corrects itself. Actually, it looks at its own mistake, corrects it even before asking you questions. Then the loop got instant live previews, and editor diffs collapsed, and build test cycle from minutes to seconds, fast enough to feel like conversation. So that's why it became it. The whole trend clicked, and Andre Karpathy just kind of uh, defined it in a couple of words: vibe coding. That's it. The skills that matter now. So earlier, and I have been, and looks like 50% of you have spent life memorizing syntax, APIs, and developed speed and so on, writing code and all that. So debugging alone line by line and so on. So now you don't no longer need to do that. And therefore, also at the same time, this means that if the whole world can do it, your mastery is no longer in the left side. Your mastery is going to be on the idea level. Now, if you can come up with better idea, have the grit and discipline to execute those ideas, persist actually with those, then that is where the skills have shifted now. So no longer I try to focus on, whether I can write better code, accurate code, but what can I think? What can I understand about AI? What can I bring from the real world uh, and make it better with the help of AI? So that is where my thought process now goes. And that is where I try to make things work. And the more you practice these things, the better you will be. And it is said that, you will no longer first there were people with ideas. That is where we invented fire and whatnot and so on. So idea, then came the execution and so on in human evolution, if you see. And then people became specialists, especially with the industrialization and so on and so forth. There was an era of specialization in the last 2.5 years and so on and so forth, right? Pretty much 1700s and so on. Now it seems we are moving away from specialization to again generalization and leadership, courage, and ideation phase. So, which means the better ideas that you have, the more grit you have, and familiarity with different tools that can be your servant actually, the better you're going to perform and fit into the new world. Of course, you'll need to understand certain terminologies. You cannot say, if somebody asks you what are the agents or what are the RAG, etc., and you can say that, no, 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 I'll ask AI. You cannot do that. And same thing went for the browser era and internet era as well. knowledge stopped becoming a differentiation because you could gather knowledge, but the wisdom and what you develop as a perspective is still was important, and it will continue to be important. Now, Claude for conversation, Cursor for construction. That is what we are going to do today. So this is what we will do. AI assistant in browser. That is the part A of the lab, which means nothing to be installed. If you have created Claude.ai login, which is Claude, that is fine. If you've downloaded Cursor on your machine and have a working 1 week pro trial, which was given in the setup instructions, you're going to be fine. Otherwise, just watch it as I go through it if you can follow it. And then Claude Code, you can download the terminal, whatever, either in your terminal or on your desktop. That is how I operate. That is how this whole exercise was built. So you can do more and more actually after that. So Cloud plus artifacts idea, running app in one message, describe what you want to do. I will give you the prompts. You will paste the same prompt. A working app renders live in artifacts panel. Each follow-up message will reshape the same app and so on. So that is, and download the file. It runs everywhere. This is an HTML file. That's what we will do. And it's perfect on ramp, nothing to install, no files. Failure is cheap, which means wrong results. Just say so, you build on top of it. AI is very patient, infinitely patient, and it's not going to scold you. It's going to always encourage you. So unlike humans, actually, that is a very big advantage with AI, especially for people learning at different speeds. So in one area where you may be, taking a lot of time, AI will have infinite patience. And if you talk to people who are very knowledgeable in AI, they tell you that this is the biggest thing that humans can use. That things that you are weak, just work with AI. They will tell you, start you from zero, have infinite patience. If you ask a question, went to sleep, and next morning if you come, it's not going to yell at you. It's not going to, be hard on you. It's going to start exactly where you were yesterday in an encouraging fashion. Of course, sometimes you want it to critique and actually rather not be so nice. So that's fine too if you want it. So what we'll do in Cursor, we'll do three tools: one editor, inline autocomplete, targeted edit, composer and agent, and so on, so forth. So what happens when you press enter? So inside the agent mail mode, we have already seen this. You ask, it reads, it plans, it edits, and you review. So once you ask, what it does is it plans a lot of planning, and it itself tries to iterate on whatever it is doing. You can see what it is doing, and then you review it, you redirect it, you say whether you like it or not, and so on. That's fun. So human is in the first box and last box, actually. So rules file, standing order for your agent. So you give some hard constraint and so on. So we'll see how Cursor operates. We'll open this file and see what are the hard constraints. How do you direct behavior so that AI remains within certain bounds and guardrails? Okay. So this is on free plan, and I think Cursor, if you have created login before, it may ask for your credit card, but I believe in the first login, it doesn't ask for credit card. So for me, it did, and I did pay $20 for this, so that's fine. Although I have full Claude plan. Okay. Now, in my coding loop will describe, generate, run, review, and refine. So that is what we will do. Anatomy of a good build prompt. So wake, make me a finance dashboard. Like I said, if you just tell AI, I want to go without specifying anything, is going to just guess based on what others are doing, not confined to you. So from portfolio, etc., all those things. So so with that, I think uh, we can dive into the labs per se. So and then we'll come back to the presentation again. Okay, so we'll start seeing and we'll come here as to what we are showing there. Okay. We can take a couple of minutes of break while you pull up and change your screen if you have two screens set up. So keep this Zoom in one screen. On the other screen, just follow what I'm going to show you. So that will be the best way to follow. So I'll stop and see if there are questions. If uh, people have been able to set up Claude, and maybe D, if you can just have another poll. If people have been able to set up Claude and Cursor.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing this and I'll start sharing the workflow part. Okay. Any questions, comments?
We do have a few questions. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
see. Nancy, Verma, and JP. Nancy, do you want to ask your question?
Hi, question. Yeah, my question was like some of the job interviews, they still ask you to write the code, even though like now we want AI to write the code. And I know like some people say the reason is like, because everyone can write the code using AI, so they still want to like distinguish candidate based on syntax. So
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
like,
So,
what
like
do
I
you think
mentioned,
about that? Is that like because now, like someone like me, I stopped learning the syntax. So, do I
mhm.
need to now like spend time on lead code learning the syntax again to pass those interviews?
Okay. Yeah. So that's a very good question. And that probably is what I hinted at in the beginning, right? Vibe coding can take you only so far. Okay. In an organization implementations, you need to go far beyond vibe coding. So vibe coding by itself is a great productivity tool. You should know how to use it to your advantage. People who can answer those interviews, I mean, those questions in the interviews, or people who are asking those questions in the interviews, they themselves are expert in vibe coding. But they need to go far beyond that to make things useful for enterprises. Because in enterprises now, they expect you to know vibe coding and be able to use it, create projects. At the same time, you will have to build things where AI cannot yet help you, such as software engineering, such as making the production ready pipelines and so on. So in last sessions, if you remember, I did show you how things actually work in enterprises. That is what my company does, and I can see it. And all of my team members, they use vibe coding actually to build, but that only takes them so far. There are things to be done where they just need to debug, where they just need to see how things are working in cloud, how Cloud Run is working in GCP, how security is working, where is the bug, why it is not picking up the observability, data correctly, and so on, right? So that's why you still need coding, and I don't think that they will go away, because there will be people who will develop AI, who will develop new programs, who will write maybe 95% of the code using vibe coding, but 5% still will be written by human, directed by humans, and so on. There will be IoT devices, there will be embedded programming, there will be edge cases, and so on, which will require coding by humans, with initially. AI will be able to assist. So they are right. I mean, if you were to go to Apple or any other such engineering companies, engineering driven companies, they will ask you to code, and they will would want you to know. And moreover, whatever AI produces is never 100% reliable. It could be 90%, 95%. So who does that review? Of 5%, people who are very smart coders, and that is kind of a problem actually in the industry right now. That current generation, which probably will develop with vibe coding, uh, will not become as expert coder as we've had so far with people like you and I, who have gone through the traditional training. And we are responsible for making sure the input that goes into production, the code that goes into production, is robust and is of good quality. So, A long answer, but very pertinent question, and that's a very right question to ask, also, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kaushal, just sharing the
Yeah.
poll results.
Okay.
Seems like, some people do have issue with setting up cloud.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
Cursor. Yeah.
Cursor. Okay. So if you have downloaded and at least registered, I think you would be good. Okay. So don't bother about rest, in my opinion. All right. So this is where we are, and we will open. Okay. All right. Give me a second. I'm just getting started on this one. Let me share my screen and then we can put a link. I think I'll have to make it as a separate screen. Okay, yeah.
There is one question on installation. Can you show us what you should have in terms of cloud and cursor installations?
Yeah, I'll go through that. I'll not be able to install it afresh because my instance is already running. But that should not be. So this is okay. Let me share my desktop and we'll begin. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you can see.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Claude.a. Okay, so if you have worked with this is the not now. Okay, and usage of cowork and so on. So hopefully, when you try to register, let me see if I can new in private window. If I do here, Claude.ai, yeah. So this is where it would have gone, make everything with Claude. All you do is enter your email and it'll ask you for confirmation. Do not go to download desktop button. And pretty much that is what there is. And you accept the basic plan and it'll bring you to a screen like this. Okay. So it'll make the chat available. What you have on the left side is the panel. You can open the panel and you will see new chats, projects, artifacts, customize, and so on, code or design, and so on. Right. So this is, if you see, I have already created 3 projects here. Personal finance dashboard builder. That is what it was before when I was trying to give this exercise to you. I tested it myself. That is what this was. So here you can start building here itself based on the prompts that I will give you. Okay. So that's all you have to do for the first part of the exercise, for first lab A. For the second part, cursor, I will show you after we have completed this one. Okay, so this is fairly simple. The prompts are simple, and there is a file which has been sent to you, uh, which if you have unzipped, so that file was, I believe, I hope everybody has got that file, right? That file was vibe underscore lab underscore starter dot zip. So you should have opened it. So if you look at, yeah, so I will show you my screen here. Okay, so this is what it would have opened here. So if you have unzipped it, Vibe Lab Starter would have these files in this. So the solution file was built later, but it would have a data folder which will have portfolio.csv, transaction.csv, which has the linkage from the past, but this is independent session. So it is the same thing that we built earlier in terms of portfolio, and portfolio opens up like this. So if you see here, so this has, assuming that fictitious household portfolio consists of Fidelity 500 Index, Growth Company, Fidelity US Bond, Vanguard Federal, Apple, and Microsoft Corp. So these were the share, and this is the value that fictitious family, held. So these were that was the folder, and that is what we'll try to depict in charts and so on. So I'm not saving it here. And then let's look at the transactions. So these are the credit card transactions in that fictitious family. So these are the amounts, and incidentally, that is how actually I also track, and I built actually macro routine to classify this, but I'm going to use my own creation from now onwards, it seems. So we'll try to see how we can present it pictorially in a web browser, actually, which we'll build with the help of vibe coding. Okay. So these are daily transaction. How do how do you put them in a very nice categorization, drop down, and so on. So let me just blow it up so that everybody sees it. Yeah, here it is. So you see different expenses, category, housing, description, mortgage payment, and so on. So all that. So housing is coming again here, mortgage payment. So at the end of the year, if you want to just try to consolidate what has been your expense on utilities, I actually do it every 6 months. I do it for my own personal finance, and I have not used AI so far. And thanks to this exercise, these sessions, I will be doing it. I will be using AI into that also. So I have my own built Excel for these actually. So I'll not save these, but this is what your data is, input data, and what we'll try to build is something we'll see. Okay. So this is what, if you have unzipped anywhere in your desktop, you'll be referring to it later. So let's continue. Okay. Let me put it here and okay. All right. Okay, so this part is going to take time. We'll give it some task. We'll give a prompt, and then we will switch back to the presentation. So that's how I will alternate between the presentation and the live working, because some of these things will take some time by Claude and Cursor to build those. So we'll utilize that time either in Q&A or we'll go back to the presentation. Okay. So what you do is you just copy paste the prompts in your open screen. So one screen you should have for Zoom, another screen you should just keep open the browser for Claude, and Cursor you will open that desktop. And if you have a two monitor setup, you just follow whatever I post, whatever instructions I give. And these are nothing but just 3-4 step exercises. So not that you have to do it multiple times, you're likely to lose track and so on, but you'll get the concepts that I'm trying to uh, convey here. Okay. Copy paste, and obviously I'll ask you to present your result. Mostly they should match because they follow roughly the same file and same kind of request. But in a real world, it can differ if the things are complex. And if you fall behind, forget about it. Just I'm not going to repeat because then it'll consume much more time than we have for the workshop. But you can follow it later by watching the video. Okay. So now we have opened the Claude Code here, new web browser chat. So let me maximize this here, right? And then open the starter kit. You have already unzipped it, okay? And then we will look at this, and I've already shown you the portfolio file and transaction.csv. Now with that, so here we are going to put back again, add files and photos. Okay, so here we are going to click. So if you look at live exercises data, so this and this. Okay, so these two files you're going to select wherever you have downloaded and say open. Okay. So these two files are going to be added here. These are very small size. They should immediately pop up. If you have a folder open, just copy and then paste here. That also will work. Okay. And now next is
Right, Kaushal.
Yeah.
This is Jamuna here.
Yeah.
Actually, do we load the material into the project section? Is that what you said?
No, nothing. Just chat session. That's it. Nothing much.
Okay. Just only pick these two CSVs.
Yeah. Ideally, I would build projects. And for example, for creating this session, I did build a project because that required a lot more components. But here it's going to be just 3 exercises based on these 2 files. Okay. So I will not bother too much on that. Now, this is the prompt that
Thank you.
I'm going to paste on the chat window, and I will wait for a couple of minutes actually for people to catch up to this. Okay. So D, you have this prompt? Can you paste this prompt in the chat, please?
Okay.
Or maybe I will chat. So I should be okay. All right. Is it visible? Whatever I have pasted in the chat?
You pasted it as a message, so under somebody else's message. So I just sent it as a main message. So everybody, can you please
Okay.
give us a thumbs up if you could see the message? It would be really good to just get a feedback. Okay.
So you should be here where I am right now. Yeah. So I'm zooming my screen. This is what it should be. So let me read out while you all just try to copy and paste. Here are my investment portfolio and my last 6 months of transactions and CSV data. That is what these 2 files are, and I explained to you. Build me a personal finance dashboard as a single page web app. Okay, so we are trying to build with the help of Cursor, we are going to refine it and put more features. And then essentially, this is nothing but relating back to the previous 2 exercises that we built. And this can be your own personal dashboard with no interaction. You can share with others, but this can be your own interaction every 6 months, every month, every day. If you want, you can look at it. You just need to paste the right data. That's it, in anonymized form. Exclude all your personal information from those files. Include a headline card showing my total portfolio value, a table of my holdings, sorted by value, formatted as US dollars, a summary of my average monthly spending by category. Make it look clean and professional like a modern fintech product. Okay. So that's the instruction I have given. And that again goes back to the style of vibe coding. So vibe coding doesn't mean that you try to just throw instruction. So see how, and this is what I would want you to learn in this exercise.
Kaushal, hate to interrupt,
Yeah.
but we are not able to copy from the chat. So there is a setting that somebody can enable, one of the administrators, so that we can copy.
Yeah.
That's option 1. Or option 2, is there a file that in the download anywhere that has all the prompts you're going to be using?
Uh, I think enabling the setting probably may be possible. D, can you please see that?
Yeah, I've never heard about it, so let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
let me figure it out.
Is it the problem everyone is facing, or
Yes. Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
everyone's facing. Can you put it
Yeah.
okay?
in the
There's
Google
a
Doc?
shortcut. You can do a screenshot and get the image, and you can actually paste the image. It'll
But
understand the image
yeah,
code.
but I think this way it'll be easier if you can just
I
copy
have
paste.
no
Yeah.
idea how to do that, so just
Hey,
let
I
me.
was able to copy from chat.
Yeah,
I don't
hang
know
on.
how
I'll
to.
tell you how to do it, right?
Okay.
Um, Basically, you go to the web portal and do settings, and somewhere in the settings, there's this thing that says allow users to save chat from the meeting.
Okay, okay. ठीक है.
It's in the
I'll just
settings
do
as an
it.
admin.
Thank you guys. I cannot look into it right now, but I'm sure we'll find the solution. We are all techies here, right? So this is the first time I'm hearing, by the way. I've been using Zoom for the last so many years, but that's interesting. Okay, one more thing to take care of next time. Okay. So there are three prompts that we will give and three capabilities we'll build in Claude, and then we'll move on to Cursor and we'll build more capabilities. Okay, so once this gets going, uh, we'll switch back to the presentation and let it work. This will take some time for it to develop. And if you hit the limit and so on and so forth, don't bother, just follow the instructions and do it later. So because these limits are token limits are set by Claude every day. So if you were experimenting before coming to this workshop, you may hit the limit. If not, you will not hit the limit and you'll continue. But if you hit the limit, then be patient, do it next day and so on. But once that chat thing is allowed, I'll proceed forward.
Yeah, I'm just going into settings and doing it. 1 second.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't.
In the meantime, if you take a picture, just like somebody suggested, of whatever you are seeing here are my investment up to the product, and just post it along with that, then that will work.
This particular, yeah.
I have enabled allow users to copy or save chats from the meeting. Can somebody please try and let me know if it's working?
Meanwhile, I'll take some water. Hydrate.
Didn't work for me right now, but I don't know.
Okay.
I think you might have to send a new message just to test
Okay,
it.
okay.
Actually, you can do one thing. If you can attach a notepad file, you copy this text in a notepad file and
Yeah, let me
share
just do
that.
that. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so after this, maybe, just send all the prompts separately. Claude prompts and then Cursor prompts, please.
I'll just create like a running doc, online document, and I'll just keep pasting everything over there.
Yeah, yeah.
In the meanwhile, if you would want me to share that text that I have typed it out, if somebody can test that out, if that works.
Yeah, yeah.
But it will be the same problem, right? If it's in
Yeah,
chat, you can't
that's why
copy
it
it
will be the
doesn't make
same
sense.
problem. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Can somebody try this prompt document that I've shared? It's an open document and I've just copy
Yeah,
pasted.
it worked.
It worked? Okay. Whatever
For
text is
me,
there.
for me,
Yeah,
there is this
yeah,
prompt is working actually. Like it stopped.
it
It
worked.
says Claude 5 is not working. I don't know.
Kaushal, I was able to get it working. I got my first dashboard up.
Okay. All right.
I'm
So
rich. I
somebody
have
has been able to copy successfully and it worked, right?
Yeah, I have $500,000. I'm rich.
See? Who says these sessions don't pay back, right? Okay, wonderful. Yeah. All right. So I'll execute this prompt in that case. And yeah. I'll stay with the planning part. Yeah. So if you see,
Actually, it took, sorry, this is
yeah.
Jamuna And it took a part of the because I was typing and then when I hit enter, it took the prompt in the first
Yeah,
paragraph and
you don't
started
have to. So
reading.
if you have to press enter and stay within that, you do shift and enter.
Shift
Okay.
enter. Yes, I
Yes.
found
Yeah.
that out and
Yeah. So there will be something. Why it doesn't show here? Yeah, here you'll see this button. You can press stop here. You'll see here next to the mic.
uh-huh.
Yeah, just press here. It will stop whatever it is doing, and then complete your prompt, upload the file, and then do it again. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You see here, stop. Yeah. So which means now everybody can copy at least from the chat. So we can move on. Okay. So it is showing you right now, it is showing you that examined data structure, consulted front-end design approach, and so on, and inspect the two uploaded CSV files, etc. All that, right? So, and these instructions themselves were created by Claude, by white coding. Okay. So, and these work. So make it look clean and professional like a modern fintech product and so on. So I didn't invent this language. This itself gave me that suggestion, something that will work in a large group. So architected dashboard components, calculated financial this thing. So it is giving you very good information. If you look at it also, you'll understand what's being done right now. So read front-end design skills before building the UI, compute totals and averages to verify against the app, and so on. Right? So it is doing that. You can even
हाँ तो
see.
वो इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ये इम्पोर्टेंट
What is that?
I think people must have unmuted themselves by
Okay.
mistake.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My prompt is already run. How do you save this so that you don't have to rewrite the prompt and you can make this like a skill so that next month when you have another CSV file, you can just load it into the existing?
Yeah. So we will. So you just one is that you create a prompt library of your own, and you can convert this to a skill, I believe, as well as a
Yeah,
project.
if you could go over that, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you can always just save it in a file or something if you were to do it as a project, actually. So that's a much cleaner way of doing it. So projects allow you to store. I can probably maybe compromise on my anonymity and show you my cloud itself, my Claude. Skip intro, my dear. This is back. Okay, see here. So these are, for example, my projects. Okay, so all this. So all these are my personal projects. So if you go to personal projects on Claude Code and so on and so forth, this was the fun project skit that we did, and it took me several hours to stitch together recording from several folks and so on. So if you were to do that, you can create that as a project. Next time when you put your revised files, it'll simply understand what you're trying to do based on huge context. Here I have built. I've done several iterations, for example, right? So you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything. Whatever you have done, just upload new files here, new folder, and so on, and this will automatically revise everything. You just don't need to do anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere. However, if you, I think that was Dee's request and suggestion as well. If you go to file and capabilities and connections, etc., I have let it come back. Okay, yeah. In capabilities, and so these are the two more features. Actually, you can see connectors have moved to customized sessions, so you can build connectors on top of it, and then you can build capabilities. So capabilities allow you to generate memory from chat history, allow Claude to remember relevant context from your chats, and so on. If it remembers, then you can just mention that portfolio detail, whatever I did, please be aware of that, and these are just new files and so on. So you could do that part. And then connector search, just go to connectors also, you can do that. Here, code execution and file creation. So this is allowed network egress. Sometimes you can allow it to search certain websites, not all the website, Hugging Face, etc. So it'll go there and pull relevant context. For example, I was doing that audio project, so I allowed it access to freesound.org, Google Video, Pixabay, and so on, PyPy.org to allow new files, YouTube, and so on. So that also you can have. Now coming to skills, you can create a skills here. So create new skills, modify and improve existing skills, measure skills. So if you've developed certain project that can be an input to new projects, etc., that also you can create here. I have not tried that part, but you can very well, as I can see here. Okay. So you can schedule, build in schedule, set up co-work, context and design, etc. So a lot of things are possible here. Even I have not explored everything here because we typically end up for enterprises building up different code base, different capsules and modules, etc., which are reusable. We do use a skills concept there, but these are something that even I need to probably. But this is how it'll out. Its concept of a skill is nothing new. So, but they have adapted it well, it seems, to code Claude also. Okay. So with that, let's get back to the exercise. Let's see what has been built. So as you can see on the right, so this ledger has been built here. Claude Code works directly. I will do it later. I've already. So now it has, let's run through. Data is clean, 6 months. If it is not clean, it'll ask you all that information, which information is missing and so on. And I have tried giving it my, my wife's pay slips, etc. It has been able to deconstruct entire PDF file in a very, very thorough manner, which was not possible earlier. Even for humans, it'll take a lot of time actually. So it does that. Quick design note on direction I'm taking. So it gives you a very good description of what it is trying to do. Okay. And these are very relevant. If you are doing a project, this becomes very important. The layout is clean, but I need to check something. These are all internal dialogues because they spin up apparently agents while trying to do that itself. Okay. So there are several agents conversating. Single self-contained HTML file open in any browser, no setup needed. What it shows, hero, total portfolio value of this, which is this. So there's the hero. And holdings, all 7 positions. So this is the holding block which has been set up here. And this is average monthly spending here, right? Housing, taxes. So we'll build a little bit on top of it. So this is the average monthly spending. So what you notice here is right now it is in light mode. It is not in dark mode. Okay. So there is no marker here which shows that you can convert this to light mode or dark mode just for the fun sake. For example, here if you want to filter the transaction based on housing, there is no facility here. We'll build that as part of the lab B. Okay. So we'll have that capability also. If you were to analyze your utilities, sometimes I want to do, right, how much my gardener has charged or whatever, right? So all those things, how much electricity bill has come this year versus last year, and so on, with solar installed, all those things, right? So your expenses, so it says your income, your expenses are 4,833, and then your income probably in this example is about 9,800 and so on per month. A couple of design decisions worth flagging. Every figure is set in monospace, face, and so on. So nothing big here. Actually, this is a very simple example. So there are no capabilities as you see. We'll build those capabilities now. So in next one, let's do that. So let's
In
do the next.
Caution, I got different. I didn't get a couple of design decisions or anything as a response to this.
Yeah. So that is part of the exercise actually. It did say that, if you paste the output that you have, that will differ, from what I have. So,
Okay.
but materially it should be the same. Okay. It should not differ. So here I'm trying to now paste a different thing. So there is no pie chart here, you see, right? So on the right, if you see, and you'll be able to download. If you download this at this stage, this will open up in the in a browser, separate browser by itself. Okay, so that we'll do for the last one. But imagine this being opened in a browser. Now I'm saying it add two charts, a pie chart for my portfolio allocation by asset type and a bar chart for monthly income versus monthly spending. So that'll be so nice to see, right? How it is progressing. So let's give this job here. Okay. So we're now running. So now I'll let me post this. Have you posted it, D, the second prompt, A2?
Not yet.
Yeah, please
Can
do
you
that.
please, okay, well, where do I find it? In the,
Okay, let me see if I can post it.
yeah, please.
Okay, message everyone and can everyone confirm if you have, can everyone see the prompt that I pasted?
Yep, I can see that and I'm adding it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, add it into the file, notepad file also. Yeah,
Okay.
I can see thumbs up, which means people can see. Okay.
Mhm.
So taking longer than usual, and this is the perfect time that I will get back to the presentation. Okay. Now, so what did we see? So we saw that anatomy of a good build prompt. So prompt portfolio and data this, four summary cards, holding table sorted by value, donut size, and so on. Data source is named here. The prompt that we pasted earlier, feature enumerated, reviewable scope, constraint stated, uses what exists, review that starts by itself. Okay. And then six habits. So what is six habits? One feature per ask, a small diffs, easy review, and so on. Give acceptance criteria, defaults to all, charts stay unfiltered, whatever, right? So you give what you want to eventually evaluate. So that also is very good for AI. Point at context, paste errors verbatim, ask for a plan first, make it explain. So one more good practice is basically ask, instead of saying, okay, go and build this, you say, how do you plan to execute this? Although I have not practiced in this one particularly, but in large projects I do. So you ask for a plan. How do you plan to execute this? Okay, so that itself becomes, which is called prompt building. Okay, so you build your prompt. You say that these are the things that I want. Okay, so let me see if I can show you a real example. Okay, so me, okay. So let's see, go back to the beginning of the prompt. Okay, so this is the context. Okay, so the way I built this particular project, where we were doing a fun skit, for a friend of mine who's celebrating, 50th birthday and so on. So you prepare the context. Context is connect the folder which has raw audio input, script that folder, person mapping is at the top, and so on. I have enabled sandbox network egress and so on. Verify tools first. I've done this, and this itself I built previously before even coming here. I said, this is what I want to do. Help me build a detailed prompt that can guide Claude to execute this kind of project. So I first developed this, and this was both in Hindi and English. The audio is in English and so on. Code is mixed to transcribe with language auto Hindi plus this. So script itself was both in combination of Hindi and English. Audio itself was in combination. So this was a complex exercise actually. And then everybody had different formats for audio file. Convert every clip to this. I didn't write all this, and I generated it with the help of AI itself to arrive at, first of all, detailed prompt, which will start to analyze the files and build a combined output. Okay, so it created two things. It created, for script translation, it created model. It downloaded a model actually, which will help it transcribe first everything into English or whichever language you want, and then It'll also have audio translation. So it created audio translation also to have a common language and so on. So this is there. So match transcribed lines to script line by line, pay special attention to, and so on. So some of the audio files had all dialogues in one file, some had split the dialogues, and so on. So it produced all that, produced a complete EDL in this exact format. So I also described how it should produce the output, that it should have a script line, source, and so on and so forth. And it did that exactly. So generate the order list of mapping and so on. So all these things were done, described, and then produce the output. And in the end, it did produce all the output that I wanted. So I can maybe show you. Yeah. Open text editor. Yeah. So this is a particularly complex project because it required both written translation, language translation, as well as transcription of the audio, which was in two different language. So here, if you see, I prescribed exactly, and this is what it says: segment one is script lines, ladies and gentlemen, and so on. Source file where it has come, what is the start of that particular file where it has been picked, and what is the end. Duration is 6.23 seconds, and so on, right? So all that was assembled. So this is a real useful example. It saved at least the editor and the director of the skit actually a couple of days of work actually. So it's very useful. Right, I don't know where I'm. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's go back and check the prompt. All right, so still it has not come. So let's stay with the presentation. So this is for, I was just elaborating, ask for a plan first. So gradually you can come to a level where you can plan so well. So it's always a very good idea to first plan in detail what you want to do. Okay, so especially when I'm undertaking large projects, I do this exercise a lot actually. And make it explain, summarize changes in plain English like it does. That it does now by default. I don't think you need to do it by yourself. No. Okay.
Excuse me, Kaushal.
Yes.
Actually, the for me, the prompt in the clipboard is the same prompt as the first prompt. Is there a setting that enables or disables clipboard copying,
No,
for
nothing.
an individual
No,
user?
no, nothing. So you just try to copy again and paste it maybe in a
Twice I did, that's the same thing
note
that is coming.
notepad and all that. Then that is probably a problem in your machine. I am sorry. So maybe you
Okay.
can do it later when all the prompts will be there. So I have not seen that at least.
Okay.
So just
Yeah.
copy it
Or
from the
just
prompt
try to
document.
type it. It's just a couple of lines.
Yes, that's what I did. While I typed, I'm missing all whatever that you said.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, that's okay. It's normal, I think.
Use the
yeah.
prompt document.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So,
can.
all right. So now next is when it breaks the debugging pattern. So I'll probably skip whenever you see something wrong. You see something is wrong, you always say that, but instead of this, what you actually see. So console error, paste it verbatim and find the root cause and fix it. Explain what was wrong in one sentence. Even if you don't put the last sentence, it typically does it on its own. It says, okay, why? Oh, I understand, why this was there. So if I use the same example, actually, I did see a lot of problems actually sometimes. So I see here. So here I said from Ritesh needs to be split into two parts, this, and needs to come after this and become new prompt. And it did all that. Somewhere I had said the volume of that particular section is low. Here is the missing recording. Okay, this was the recording, but how do you have uploaded the correct file and so on. There was a section where I said, okay, the volume in this particular section is low. Then it went, analyzed, and gave me a reason actually why it was there. So, yeah, this is edit notes and so on. So yeah. So something like this, I have uploaded this file here. Please integrate into dialogues and report the missing status and so on. So real projects obviously do take time. I'm not saying it's going to be instant, okay, like we are having this exercise. Okay. So let's see where our little project is. Okay. Claude is at capacity. Try again. A moment. Oh my God. Okay. So this is really bad luck for all of you. Claude is at capacity. Claude itself is having a lot of capacity issues, it seems. I'll add both charts. Let me first compute the exact monthly income versus spending figures from your data. So bar chart is accurate and so on. Maybe, we can shift to cursor in that case. Okay. So I did ask, I don't think it has added here, but I can show you, which I did earlier. So this is how it'll look like. Okay. Okay. So this was the first output, and this is how the charts look like when you add them. Okay. So when you add them, this is allocation by type. This will be added, and income versus spending will appear here. Sorry, guys. It seems cursor itself. Claude itself is having an issue. Okay. Claude is at capacity. Try again. So it says, okay. Let me say try again.
So Kaushal, it has worked for a lot of other people. So I
Okay.
think we
Yeah.
can
Then
move
it's
to
good.
the
Then
yeah,
it's
we
good.
can move
Yeah.
to the cursor. I think
Yeah.
it's already 10:32.
Yeah. So this is another dashboard. So I will probably, yeah. So if you look at, there is another prompt. Since Claude is at capacity, I'll probably not run it. Okay. This will be this prompt. So this is something called adding a dark mode toggle between. So this will be, if I were to go here. Okay. So this would have been my two prompts. Add a dark mode toggle button in the top right corner, default to light mode, and make sure the charts and tables recolor properly when toggled. So there is no button here that changes it to dark, for example, in this output. But if you were to do this, which I did earlier, it adds a button here, which is a very popular request actually from clients in real life also. So you see here on the right, it says toggle theme. So if I press it, it will come in dark mode. So I press it here, right? Isn't this cool? So this definitely good. So here it has not colored actually, but if it were to color, you will see the colors also change to reflect the dark theme. And this will happen in the cursor example that we will go into. So let's move on in the interest of time. We are getting at 10:25. So this is the third part of the prompt, which I have pasted in the chat. You can copy it, run it later. If Claude, doesn't run to capacity, you should be able to see it. And you can change it. This is a very cool feature, actually. You just press it, you're gonna have fun with it. Okay. So this is a really good thing. So coders, as you know, probably half of you are coders. You've done coding, VS Code, etc. You'll see that you like the dark mode for better because it has less strain on your eyes. So in this example, if you see, we built actually three things. One is we created the portfolio first. We built the charts here as part of the second prompt. And then third one was we enhanced the UI with the dark theme and light color button also. So three things we accomplished here. Let's move on to Cursor Desktop. Okay. So Cursor Desktop, we will do a little bit more now. So here we will get into the project phase, project approach. Let's move on to the, okay. Yeah. So what do we do here? So this is where the project, hands-on lab. So this is a hands-on lab. We did personal dashboard. The story continues. This is the same thing, fictional thing that we did earlier. And two parts, one app, free tiers only. Okay. So we already accomplished, first part, lab part A, open Claude A, portfolio. So there are detailed instructions. You'll be able to follow it from presentation or from the file that I will share later. So what happened? Compare your dashboard versus neighbors. You will see different apps and so on. If you spell, or rather, if you change a little bit, or even if you keep the same words, they will change slightly, but nothing materially. They should not change. Three prompts produce the biggest change with the fewest words. So you saw that you just gave a single line prompt and those features were added. I think that's the takeaway of this vibe coding exercise. Now let's move on to the next part, which is part B, an agent in your project. Okay, so here what we are going to do is, let's move on to cursor setup. Now open the project, meet the rules file. So let's move on to, cursor here. Okay, so this is cursor. Here in cursor, let's go to the new agent. Okay. Here, what I have done is, what you can do is open folder. So if you are first doing it first time, you will come to open folder. I have already opened this folder, so it's already exists. But you can always go to open folder, and then this will take you to a dialog box here. I have already opened. I'm not going to open. Wherever you unzipped that zip file, this is where you will open it. Okay. So in my case, this is NIT events and so on. And this is the file Vibe Lab Starter. This is where you will point to. So last time, if you remember, in Claude, we just uploaded those two portfolio and expenses file. Here, you will point to the whole file, which has README, index, data files, and so on, right? Which is what I showed you in the beginning. So you'll say open. I'm not saying because it's already open and it shows here Vibe Lab Starter. Okay. So once it is connected and knows that you're going to refer to this particular file, it will start here. Okay. So, sorry. Now, if you see here on your right hand, you will see two things. Cursor operates a little bit different. So I'll just show you. On top right window, if you see, there is something called show panel. So things will be hidden. You should see this screen. We should have this file, this folder open wherever you have unzipped. And then on top right, you have this panel. So show panel. Once you show panel, you will see this sliding screen. You can always expand it. Okay. So right now, since I have it here, if I don't have it here, you will see four buttons. First is the changes, will not use it. Browser will not use it. And this is the terminal prompt, will not use it either. We'll use the last one, which is called files. Okay. Once you click on it, you will see this folder come up. Okay. So you should be, whatever you have expanded or selected here will open up here. And here you're going to see not the solution because you have not created anything. I did create, so it is showing here. So in data, you will see both the files that I have already shown to you. If you click them, these are CSV files, nothing but text files. So they will show the details separated by comma and so on, and the values. Transactions, you will see so many across different months, household transaction and so on. And then you will see something called cursor rules. Cursor rule is something that cursor itself creates. And let me just walk you through it a little bit. So it sets the cursor rules is nothing but if you are creating a project, cursor has the style of creating this guardrails. And similar is the nature with Claude also. If you were to use it on desktop, it will create some sort of boundary for itself. What it says, let's read it through. What this project is. This project is a single page personal finance dashboard built for hands-on vibe coding and so on. Participant describe features in plain English and so on, all that stuff. So this is coming from the README file that was there actually. So index and README file. So it read this file. So this is a README file which was already part of the project that was created actually. So it has read and it has created the boundary. So quick part B, this is this, blah, 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 and so on. This is the placeholder file. This is the data file. So that is where it is taking all that. That what is this trying to do? Hard constraints do not violate. Everything stays in one file, index.html. So you're not building multiple page website here, just single page for now. But you can build actually if you want. So everything stays in one file. Exception.data.js must remain a separate file, must not be modified. No build steps, no npm, no fetch. So these are all package managers. It's not allowed to use those. Style, clean, modern, professional look, and so on. You can have medieval look, you can have ancient look, and so on. Whatever is the currency, it shows the currency. Prefer small readable functions with brief comments and behavior after every change. Briefly summarize what you changed and why in language a non-programmer can follow. So this picked up the context actually that README had, okay, which is something I gave it as input, which itself was created by vibe coding. It's a different matter, but you can always change it, okay, if you want. So if a request is ambiguous, ask for
Hey,
clarification.
Kaushal,
Yeah.
there are some people who are asking, I'm unable to load the folder.
So here, if you see just above chat, you will see this particular thing. If you are going on left side new agent, you will always see this on the on the panel. So you should see this part, okay? Cursor, if you've downloaded and logged in properly, this is the landing screen, And here, if you put download, here you will see on the top, you will see open folder, okay? This is what it is. When you see the recording later on, you will be able to catch this, okay? Open folder, I just went, it opens the Windows Explorer or Finder in Mac, and then you just connect it to wherever you have unzipped, okay? So that's
I
what.
think the terminal looks very different on PC versus a Mac.
Okay, and sorry about that, but roughly this should be the structure, because when they build features, they try to follow the same pattern, look and feel. Okay, so maybe just experiment a little bit. It'll have a placeholder for this. Otherwise, just ask Claude, for example. You've already created Claude. Say that how to attach a folder and so on. Somewhere it'll have all these buttons. Okay. So once you have that, this will.
I'm looking at the online version, web version, and I don't see the lab starter, the local that you have. Is that the folder name?
No, this is here. See this map. Instead of run on this Mac, for example, you should see a PC or whatever, right? So this is the local desktop version. This was downloaded actually. So this is desktop version of Cursor. So we did one exercise in the browser. This exercise is on the desktop app, which is slightly different because it allows you projects and so on as well. Okay. So that's the difference.
Okay.
If you have not done this, in the interest of time, I'll move forward with this. Okay. So just follow it later.
Real quick, on Windows, the way I did it was on the left where it says repositories, there's that, folder plus sign. So when you click on that one, it creates this new repository and then you can specify the folder. So I'm on Windows and it's working just like you're showing for me.
Okay, cool. Wonderful. So let's get started now, folks. So here I'm opening the right panel also, just so that you see. I'm pasting the prompt which I have just shared. So prompt is pasted as a file by itself here, which is fine. Nothing big about it. Okay. And I have given it. What is this prompt? This prompt is, as I have explained in the chat here, it is what it is trying to do. So it is a new project. It doesn't know what you did in Claude. So read data.js here and cursor rule first so that it knows its boundaries. Then replace the placeholder context in this with the personal finance dashboard. Here we are building the dashboard again. Okay. A header row, 4 summary charts, total portfolio value. Here we are building the chart itself right in the first prompt. Okay. A holding table from portfolio sorted by value, a donut chart of allocation. This is another chart that we are building here. When you finish, summarize what you changed in plain English. So that is what this prompt is doing. Okay. Now, so this is where it is. Okay. So let's see. So here in solution, it is creating complete dashboard, complete HTML. Okay. I think it, okay. In plain English, this is this open index.html in your browser, double click. So if I double click, copy path, and then I go to this chart. So this is a local file. If I paste the path here, paste and go. Yes. See? So this has created personal finance dashboard. This we just created. Okay. So this goes into the lab starter index.html file. So wherever you create it, it is slightly different from Claude. This is because we gave different prompts and these two are uh, different tools also, right? So total portfolio value is the same. Average monthly income is this. Average spending is 4833. Savings rate is this, and so on, right? So holding are same as what you had. It has built a donut chart. It has built a bar chart. Here you see it is red in color. These are just flavors of the same thing. And now it has transactions. I think this came later probably. So this is a different one. This, I believe, we reflected. Okay, let me look at the correct version. Okay. Okay, so this is the prompt that I gave now. So yeah, so this is a slightly different prompt. Okay, so this one is the chart that it refers to. Yeah. So this is what it has created. All right. Now here you see more features. Here you see, for example, if for a month you want to see the transactions, it can uh, do only January one, or which is very useful actually in reality also. So you see salary was deposited and mortgage payments, Whole Foods, and blah blah blah, all that, right? So you can say all months if you want to say how much you spent on a particular category, utilities. It'll give you all SoCal Edison plus water and so on and so forth. Some almost looks like my expenses. Yeah. Transportation, how much you spent, gas plus tolls, service and parking and so on. So it gives you, you've been able to build a very useful chart and portfolio as well as your expenses just using prompt. So let me come back here. And I hope you've been able to see it. Looks like some of you have.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Where is this prompt?
It's in chat. Yes, it is. So add a transaction section, a table for all transaction. Let's see this. And so this is the second prompt for cursor. Okay. Let me explain this prompt. So add a transaction section below the charts, a table for all transactions with a category drop down filter and a month drop down filter above it. So actually what I showed you was the final output. In your output, you'll not see that drop down. So this is probably part of the second, yeah, this one. Since I completed this exercise before showing it to you, it is already showing. So add a transaction section, a table for all transactions with a category drop down filter and a month drop down. So you would not be able to filter the way I did, but after this you should be able to. Okay. A summary card chart should be added, stay unfiltered, refresh free. So once you make a change, you can always don't need to reopen. You can go to this and for example here, you can just refresh and you'll be able to see all the changes that you have done. Okay. So here, this would not appear first. Okay. This was an addition later. I didn't realize, yes, I had completed this exercise before, so it shows me both. But now after this prompt, you should be able to see this ability to filter, which is really nice to have. Okay, so what I did was I went to the folder initially. So where I had all the files here. Let me come out of that's okay. So this is the Finder folder or Explorer. If you go, you will see this is the Vibe Lab Starter. This is where I gave the input. Okay, so if you open this, just this one, okay. So you will see after you gave the first prompt, a new solutions folder created. And within that, dashboard complete.html would appear. And if you were to double click it, it'll open in the browser, whichever browser you're working on, it'll be there. And in this, you will be able to see. And it should show the path to the folder that you've given. This is a local path. This is not internet. And this will show dashboard underscore complete.html. It will show exactly what has been described. It has transactions and so on. You can filter it by categories. This is very useful. In fact, I also didn't have, I used to develop a pivot chart in Excel, which will allow me this facility, but this is not as clean as this one. Okay. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay. Prompt documentation, you already have it. Now comes the last part, last prompt, and then we'll review what we have done. Now this is not the prompt actually per se. This is just how do you handle errors. So I think as far as the exercise is concerned, we have completed, and I will just summarize what we have done so far. Okay. And you will get all the detailed instruction to do on your own if you choose to. So if you come across any error, you did not expect something. So always say in this, you don't need to, but you can always describe something like this. I am seeing this instead of this. Okay, here is the error from browser console or something, that prompt did not appear or whatever. Find the root cause and fix it. Explain what was wrong in one sentence. You can do something like this. Okay. Now, another thing we could do is, which I have not done here, is go back to the previous prompt, add the okay. All right. Yeah. So let's add this one. So we did this exercise in Claude. Okay. I'm going to now paste this here. But Cursor doesn't know that this feature potentially can be added. So let's have fun with it. Add a dark mode also. Okay. So now when I refresh, I should be able to see an option to do the dark mode, same as what we saw in Claude. Okay. So same prompt, I'm pasting it here and adding that feature. So let's see how much time it takes. So while it takes time, okay, it did. Okay, dark mode toggle, blah, 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 blah. Right, let's see. All right, let's see the fun. Okay, so here I will refresh and a dark mode should appear somewhere here. Let's see. It has not. Am I accessing the right file?
Well, I think it's not modifying that file under solution. It's actually modifying the index.html file.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that's what it's saying in the comments there. So if you double click on the index.html file, it probably has that dark mode
Right.
switch.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here. Yeah. Here. Yeah. My. Oh, what happened? Did I not click the right one? Okay. I've created actually two places. One is in test. Yeah. Okay. So here it has added. So I gave it probably the access to depth. So here, if I click it, so this is where it is showing. So it has created dark mode. Okay. Now, how cool it is. It is really good. And light mode. Dark mode, light mode. Okay. So that feature has been added here. So you can have fun with it. You can create different pages about us. You can create whole build. You can build the whole website actually out of this. Now let's come back to the presentation and finish what we started. So we did this be feature menu and so on. So here, so lab part B, cursor file, we came to the agent mode and B2 category month filter and open console price, practice the debugging pattern if you come across. I have not done this, but you can always do it. Pick a feature from menu, write your own prompt this time, fall back if anything happens. Now, feature menu, write your own dark mode toggle. You created category emoji icons in the transactional table, export to CSV button. You can add all these basically, by the way. Savings rate gauge, how you're spending month on month. Print friendly view, you can print it out also. Net worth over time, you can do all those things as a follow on. Okay. Now, so this is a summary of what we have accomplished today, and then I will close. So English is an interface. You built real app today by describing it, specify specificity, not syntax. We did not write a single piece of code. The loop method describe, generate, run, review, refine. Everything was there. Rules beat competition, repetition, for example. So if you gave the instruction right at the beginning, you don't have to repeat it. You are the quality gate, reviewed, whatever you've created, test behavior, guard, secrets, accept is the decision. So whenever you upload file, just take a minute to remove any personally identifiable information, including the file name and the account details and so on, and you will do well. So this is creating a dashboard on your local machine. Only that data is going perhaps to internet to Cursor and whichever LLM it is using and so on. The ladder continues. You chat, editor agent, terminal agent, and same craft, more autonomy. You saw in browser, you saw in desktop also. Same things, one without a project setup, one with a project setup. What can you do that you couldn't in November? So from November, where have we come in 6 months? We learned the basics, what AI is, why is it different from normal uh, operations and machine learning, etc. Use AI models effectively, prompt, evaluate, apply them to real world. RAG, we could build, ground AI in your own documents actually, and your local documents, which is what we saw in previous two exercises. Agents and MCP, you can do multi-agent system, retrieve, reason, and act with live tools. You can create a skills and tools also, which you can do in desktop also to a large extent, but enterprises typically choose these two patterns. So RAG exercises, MCP, were designed to make you smart in your own professional life itself. Once you know those concepts, you will see them being executed in different forms and fashion, details, and so on. You should not be lost, at least, in any discussion on AI in your organization. Vibe coding, you saw how to build software and skills for yourself, hobby projects, real customer needs, actually. Uh, I think in IT Picnic itself, somebody was telling me, they use it. How do they use it for their own, professional environment where they cannot use a hobby thing, but they can do vibe coding to build things for the organization. So on. Stacked together, now you can imagine a tool, give it knowledge, give it agency, build its interface end to end. So that's how far you have come, and it should be always. We'll share the documents and so on. So these are Cursor docs, Claude.com documentation, and so on. Vibe coding, there is a special website. So redo the lab on your own, I would say it. You can deploy the website for others also using Netlify. So Netlify actually helps you deploy it on the web, and somebody else also can access it if they want. Okay. Swap the real CSV export file from your bank data, keep it local, don't send it to internet. Try one real problem from your work or home. You can do that with the knowledge that you've gathered in this session. You can go deeper, like I've gone deeper, much deeper, by using Claude on my desktop. MCP from session 2 materials, try to add that also. Add a Gemini chatbot. So all this was generated because I told Claude systematically to build through vibe coding material for this session using what I have already told you in previous 3 sessions, including the presentation, lab material, and so on and so forth, and has done a fantastic job. So add a Gemini chatbot to your dashboard, full circle with session 2, share with your build with the IT. So you can always email back to us what you've done in a couple of weeks time, months time. I'll be very happy to see the progress from each one of you. Okay. And we have I believe, WhatsApp chat also where you can share actually. So in the end, Andrei Karpati, who coined this term, but essentially means catching or labeling a trend that was already happening actually. So the hottest new programming is the language English. And as they say, earlier it was 0.01% of the population which was coder. Now it is 90 to 100%. Or it can be 100%, just the fact that people have not tried. So nobody is excluded from this groovy train, so to say. With that, I will stop and we can take the question and answer. Yeah.
Actually, in interest of time, we are already half an hour overboard. So I
Okay.
would just ask everybody to, pool in their questions and we'll just answer it through email.
We have 7 minutes, Dhanashri. We can get a time
Yeah,
check.
I can
Everyone
stay
wants
on
to
for
maybe
7 more minutes. Yeah,
five,
till
10 minutes. We can.
yeah, I think 11 more.
So for the time check, if everyone okay, staying a few more minutes, we can take a few questions. Dhanashri, I have the questions in the
Yeah.
list. So if you want to take a look and see any relevant question which might help enhance this session, please pick it up. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So there's a question about, Claude Cowork and Cowork projects. So how does context and memory vary between Claude Code and Claude Cowork projects?
Okay. Co-work essentially is, I mean, in anything, whether it is chat, whether it is co-work, or whether it is code, basically, you give prompts, it will try to use the other. Okay. So, but I use co-work most of the time when I have to describe something, create a project out of it, which has not only coding, but other components, for example, right? So if I have to prepare a presentation, if I have to not just do coding, but to create, let's say, pitches or documents or summarize or do whatever, I can do that. When I'm creating, let's say, a collab exercise, let's say for one of my projects, I would use just Codex, okay, just Codex, or in VS Code, I will use Cloud Code, basically. So that's how. So I have, for example, this setup. Maybe I can show. So I have attached it to Claude Code as well as Codex. I have both these subscriptions. So here, if you see, okay. So here in chat, I have both Claude Code and chat. So if I'm doing just the project where I want it to go through my repository, there is a separate project. For example, I did try to develop something here, but I have, let's say, OpenClaw project also, which I can share maybe in future sessions, where I have developed a very nice setup, which has local server running, entire thing happening locally, skills added on top of it, and so on. When I was building that, I was doing a lot of coding work, and then I used VS Code and Claude Code, for example. So in chat, you can use one of these. So if you do this, Claude Code has opened now, and then this can be a new project for you. It can analyze things here. It can create chat. Now chat here, it has happened. So it is you use Claude Code when you want to do something like this in VS Code, frankly.
Kaushal,
Yeah.
I have a question. When I have already installed Claude or Cursor, Claude or Codex, like you showed on Visual Studio
Yes. Yeah.
Code, Visual Source Code, the settings that I have for the options or features that are available at the time of signing up, will it be the same even when I use it in VS Code?
Yeah. If you
And
have a pro
VS
model, it'll respect the limits of pro model. If you have that max model, but pro models, trust me, are useful or sufficient for most people.
And VS Code will override it has the capability to override, right? Some of the settings, like not the capability wise, but capability of these AI agents, but
No, it doesn't.
data sharing or
it just what it does is just a wrapper on top of your Claude code, and all it does is allows the access to see the programming project that you're working on, the folder. That's it. And then it has the ability to link to terminal directly from there. So it's nothing but a wrapper actually. So it is not changing internally anything. It's just it's trying to link various aspects into one window, which is designed for programmers.
Okay.
Yeah, underlying things, nothing is changing with respect to Claude. So just Claude, you are making Claude, instead of saying Claude, look at my program and uploading those files, whatever folder is open, it is just checking whatever you're doing there. It is checking whatever you're doing in terminal and so on.
The thing is, say for example, I'm using an Anaconda or something for my environment management, and I have created a separate environment that uses a specific Python version. And in my VS Code, I have selected that Python version, but the code that I generated using Claude, will that go with the same Python version that I've chosen in VS Code, or will it use its own?
No, so Anaconda, obviously, whatever code you've developed in one version of Python, if in Anaconda it is the same version of Python, then it'll work, because things break very, very easily between two different versions of Python. So
Yeah, Kaushal, in the interest of time, let's address the individual specific questions in through email. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can maybe write a detailed thing. I can respond to
Sure.
that.
Yes. Thank you.
But it'll remain same both. So if the versions are same, they should function the same. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
There are many questions, but I'll just pick one last from them, which is really interesting on how do we add evals to these projects?
Evaluation. So describe what you mean basically. So if, how is the expense happening and so on? Is that
so basically,
Pradeep, are you here?
yeah. So basically, there is this thing, right? And the model will hallucinate and it actually not do what we are asking it to do. That's why they add some evals to make sure that it is doing what we are asking it to do.
Yeah. So you can always give a confidence score or something. That is what we do for clients. In the output itself, we build confidence score, and if you have RAG and MCP, etc., it'll also tell you why it is its confidence is that, and why it is not 100%. So we have built those kind of things. You can build very easily. So you can build critique agent. It can build evaluations and so on, evals. So yeah, you can build track also how much token it is using. So that mechanism also is possible. Just experiment and you'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, got it. Yeah, thank you. The video which I was seeing, they were actually asking it to use some like sample output. Like, okay, if you went to this site and brought it this data, what is your source, and like what
Yeah.
was something like that.
Yeah. So it'll give you source also, and it'll tell you, why it is that way. So there are a lot of these days, given the model maturity and RAG and MCP server, you can be pretty confident that it'll tell you, it'll not hallucinate too much actually, but it can. In reality, it can. But if you try to tie it with a score, it can tell you that I'm only 56% confidence, and the reason is this, because there is no documentation, there is no guideline for me to look at.
Yeah, and yeah, just to add for everybody understanding, I saw some of the videos where actually it is not doing what we are asking it to do, and then they actually measure it with something else. So
Okay, yeah, there could be.
yeah,
There could be
that's
those
what I
things.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for explaining.
Cool. I think with that, we can end. All the questions that were unanswered, we'll try to answer all of them. Like we'll get answers from Kaushal, and we'll try to answer all of them via mail or via the GenAI forum, and also on all the other follow-up emails that you will receive. But with that, Kaushal, thank you so much. Like you have put a lot of effort. Like I've seen you really revamp all of those prompts and create like structure for all the classes and making sure that everybody understands it. Like you've created all the sessions for people starting from all the levels. So thank you so much, and doing so much for the IIT SoCal community. And thank you everybody who has joined us and participated throughout all of these sessions. We really hope that these sessions are helpful to you guys. And if you have any suggestions or any feedback, please feel free to message us back, and we'll make sure to incorporate it. Priyank, being the president of IIT SoCal, he's always receptive to any kind of feedbacks or suggestions that you might have. And thank you again for being part of this journey with us, and we look forward to seeing all of you guys in the next events.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. Hey, Kaushal, you have put a lot of effort and you have given your time to this community to increase our learning about AI. So thank you for that. And this also shows it's the reflection of the learning community that IIT SoCal is. And I highly encourage everyone to become part of this organization so that we can all grow together. And what Kaushal is doing is setting an example. All of us have similar expertise where we can contribute in some way or the other for each other's learning. Please join. You can send through email what you would like to participate in as a volunteer, as an organizer, as a front end, back end. We have roles for everyone here. So please
Thank
come
you.
and
Yeah,
join us.
always pay it forward, and thank you all for showing up. That itself is, I mean, all of us, whatever we did, would not be useful at all. People did not show up. So that itself is, and thank you again for the organizers.
Thank you.
Appreciate, and I'm happy to contribute whatever I have received as a gift from IIT in my days and throughout my career, throughout my life. I'm trying to pay it forward in a small way, and I'm glad I was able to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaushal, and
Bye.
thank you, Dhanashree,
Thank you.
for organizing this.
Bye.
Okay. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye, everyone.